Welcome to our session this afternoon, all about vocal expression. My name's Paula Taylor-Williams and I'm the Lab Singing Category Director. So I'm going to share with you some information about that element of the category that is right at the bottom of our judging form called Singing with Expression. Now, the people that are in our Zoom room with us today, it's really lovely to see you all. Lots of faces I recognise and lots of new faces too. So welcome. I'm going to want you to be really involved in the session today. So I want you to be typing in the chat, commenting on each other's thoughts, okay? And I'm going to use some of the things that you're typing in the chat to share with everybody else. I want to try and make this as close as I can to how it would be if we were in a room together, okay? And those of you that know how I work, it's a lot about interacting with you and getting ideas from you. So with that, let's have our screen shared, Mike, if you would, please. And we'll make a start. So the first thing then is just to, next slide then, just to go over the things that we're going to try and make sure you go away with having a bit of a clearer understanding about today. So I want you to go away being really clear about what constitutes expressive singing. There has been a change in our judging form over the last couple of years from artistry to expressive singing, and a couple of little subtle changes within that. But we're certainly focusing a lot more on that element of the form when we're judging. So we want you to know what the singing judge evaluates, and we'll have a little look at the judging form together so that you can see what that's all about. And then we'll also watch lots of examples. We'll analyse some examples, and hopefully you'll go away with some strategies for helping for you and for your singers, for your quartet, to help with singing with more expression. So let's have the next slide, Mike, just at the beginning. So I'd like you to type in the chat, how would you describe expressive singing? What words come to mind for you? Off you go. Go on. This usually results in a real buzz in a room. So let's get typing, everybody. Emotion. Yes. Absolutely. Singing with emotion. Alive. Connection with the lyrics. Engaging. Feeling. Fun. Intensity. Oh, I like that. Light and shade. Authentic. Bringing meaning to the song. Facial expressions. Communication. This is brilliant. Making the audience feel the song. Using the words to help us portray the meaning. Conveying the story through the lyrics. Believable. Understanding the lyrics. Connection with the audience. This is absolutely brilliant, everybody. Using your face and eyes. That communication, feeling, connection. Using the words of the song. Being authentic. Using lots of energy. Wow, that's amazing. I need to capture all those things that you said there and get them written down somewhere, because absolutely they are all absolutely spot on in what singing with expression is all about. And that from the heart one that Emma's just popped in there. Yeah, we have at the bottom of our sheet believable emotion. So that's really important in that bit. Using musical flow to add to the emotion. Thanks, Jen, from Sound Central. Yeah, and flow is a word that's on our sheet, on our judging sheet. And putting your heart into it. Brilliant. Okay, Mike, let's just pop to the next slide. Brilliant, everybody. All A students on that, describing what expressive singing is. So let's just unveil these ones, Mike, and let's just explore it a bit further. So, as lots of you said, as a singer, it's your ability to communicate to the listener. And, you know, that really is the most important responsibility we have. So when we're standing on the stage, you know, that's it, isn't it? Communicate to our audience. But what lots of you also said was that expression brings meaning to the music and lyrics. And I'm sure you all can think of examples of where you've heard singers where they don't bring meaning to the music and lyrics. It takes something a little bit more than just singing notes and words. Okay, next one, Mike. Would you agree with this one, that expressive singing surpasses accurate singing in appeal? Yeah, because it doesn't have to be perfect, does it? And in fact, those imperfections can be what makes it really expressive and emotional. Next one. So expressive singing can enhance performance at all levels. So it's not just for A groups. That's really important to stress. And we will have a little look at a performance of a chorus that's scoring with a 50 band later, so that you can see what that looks like at that sort of level, as well as what it looks like at the A level as well. Okay, next one. You need to feel your own emotion. A lot of you put about emotion in the chat, didn't you? And that having that ability to really connect with the emotion of the song yourself in whatever way you can do that authentically is really important to be able then to sing with expressiveness. And there's a real connection in singing between the emotion that you're feeling inside and how that affects the quality of your voice, the timbre of your voice, the vocal colours that you might use, the way you might just use a consonant in a slightly different way, the way that you might be a little breathy at times, the way you might be much more strident, pointy, whatever it is. But that's all to do with the emotion that you're feeling. And sometimes if we just let go of the technique side of singing and feel the emotion, it's quite amazing what your voice can do. Yeah, okay, next one. But this is really important, having good vocal technique. You know, that really underpins everything. If you haven't got good vocal technique, it's really hard to sing with great expression. So, you know, the best singers, and we're going to hear some really great singers this afternoon, have got amazing vocal technique, which allows them to kind of play with those expressive elements of singing. So is there another one, Michael? That one? Oh yes, there we go. Expression is for everyone. Absolutely. Okay, so let's have a look at the next slide. I'm pretty certain it's an example. Oh no, it's not. I've forgotten. I popped this slide in yesterday. I was thinking, I haven't thought about what might stop us being expressive. So do you agree with any of these? What about this? Do you agree with these? Type in the chat for me. You know, what do you think about that? Things that might stop you from being expressive when you sing. All of them. Yeah, yes, Jen, all of them. Yeah, I felt all of those things myself. Yeah, you know, you can probably reflect back on a performance that you've done where you've thought, and you've come off stage and you thought, I didn't do that to the best of my ability because other things got in my way of being able to sing well and sing with expression. So that fear of being laughed at, that's Mina from Sing, isn't it? Do you remember her in that story? Nerves. If we find expressing our own emotions difficult, I think, you know, to really be able to sing with expression, that ability to be vulnerable on stage is really important. But yeah, sometimes if you're worrying about getting too emotional or going too far, that can stop you. It can trap you, in fact, inside with the emotion inside you, and we don't actually then see that in the performance or hear that in the performance. So maybe a strategy for that is about, you know, letting you go to that fullest place of that emotion in a rehearsal situation, and then being able to draw on that feeling in performance so that it doesn't overcome you and you are able to still feel that emotion without going over the edge. Okay, so perfectionism, that lack of confidence, maybe worrying about forgetting the words, particularly, you know, long complicated songs, or where they kind of like there's a lot of similarity. Am I in the right bit of the song? So when you're singing, your brain is focused on those technical elements, and your brain can't do the two things at once. It can't think about how to sing with emotion and those technical things. Yeah, so listening and analysing rather than performing. Who does that? Who's really good in their quartet or chorus of hearing all the things that are going wrong in the rehearsal, or right for that matter? And then if you're doing that, you're not thinking about the emotion of the song. Yeah, standing on the stage and being evaluated. Yeah, but you know, when you're on stage and you're being evaluated, we just want you to do your best and bring to the stage what you've been doing in rehearsal. And we're really quite friendly. That fear of being vulnerable in public, because it means tapping into our own emotions, that's a really hard thing. And I think it's one that, you know, as we move more into this idea of expressive singing, and this links very, very closely with where performance are going, with their category as well, that if we're really tapping into our own emotions and have that really vulnerable feeling, we will sing with emotion, and we will enable our listeners to really connect with the emotion of the song. Yeah, so lots of brilliant ideas in the chat there, everybody. I mean, that's just fantastic. Yeah, so it's often hard to be expressive when you're also trying to blend and match all the other voices in the chorus. So in terms of doing this within a chorus setting, it is important that you all have that you do have some connection between you with how you're delivering that message. But as long as we've got you placed in the right place on the risers, you can sing how you sing and contribute to that ensemble sound in that emotive way. But you will have agreed as a chorus how you're going to do things. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Okay, Mike, shall we listen to something? I think that's what we're doing next, isn't it? Look, there we go. Time's whizzing by, isn't it? Okay, I'd like you to listen to this recording, and again, typing in the chat what you're hearing that you think is expressive singing. So it's a non-barbershop performance. It is an a cappella performance, but I want you to hear and see if you can identify some of those things we've already talked about. Okay, enjoy this one. Get typing, everybody. Great, Mike, let's stop there. It is absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? You know, we could listen to the whole of that performance. So let's have a look at some of the things that you were saying. Yeah, I mean, Liz from Silver Lining, you know, you've talked about even the oohs are emotional. That's what really struck me when I first listened to this performance. I thought, oh my gosh, even the oohs have got bags of emotion, and just give you know, I got goosebumps just thinking about that. And somebody else said they got goosebumps. You know, just thinking about even just singing oohs just drew us straight in to the emotional message of this song, didn't it? And the flow of the dynamics and harmonies that Angela's identified just kind of set the mood, don't they, straight away. And did you notice, somebody here had noticed about how just the facial expression at the outset helped to kind of set the emotion? It has to kind of just be within. Did you feel it was just like completely inside each of them, wasn't it? And they were sharing that with us with their voices. It was a beautiful, natural sound, wasn't it? Paula, you identified that. Singing like they were speaking, Catherine, that's just great. It felt like a very natural delivery, didn't it? But it had so many beautiful little touches on consonants and vowels and word sounds, and the way that he changed the timbre of his voice just to give us a little bit more breath, perhaps, or a little bit more emphasis on a particular note, that just was so engaging. And the breaths, Jen, you're right, the breaths are just amazing. We often talk, don't we, about, you know, we don't want to hear your breaths, but gosh, if the breath is put there for a purpose, it brings such emotion to the vocal delivery of the song. And in fact, taking the breath like that, so it's quite breathy, sets the vocal instruments in a different way too, so that when you start to sing, you get quite a different tone to your voice. So all these things are really, really important. Yeah. Okay, let's have a little look at the next slide and see. I could just listen to that all day. It's one of my favorite songs, actually, and sung by somebody quite amazing, so it's lovely. Okay, so let's have a look at what the singing category description says about it. So, and there's a little picture of of Jen. There's your chorus, your quartet. So the best barbershop singing combines elements of technique and emotion to create an artistic result. Okay, that's how we describe it within the singing category. And then here's a little bit from the category description. I don't know how many of you have gone in and had a look at the singing category description so that you can actually see what it is we're judging when you come across the stage at convention. If you haven't, I'd really commend to you that you do that. You'll get a really great understanding of what it's all about. So here it is. The singing judge evaluates the degree to which the performer achieves artistic singing in the barbershop style. Artistic singing is accomplished through precise intonation, a high degree of vocal skill, and appropriate vocal expression, a high level of unity and consistency within the ensemble. Mastering these elements creates a fullness and expansion of sound, and when combined with expressive vocal skills, will convey a feeling of genuine emotion to support the message of the song. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Let's have a little look at the singing form. I think that's on the next slide, Mike. Okay, so this is just the top section of the form. Have a little look at that, and you can see it goes from 0 to 100, and we've got bands D, C, B, A. Find the line that's all about vocal expression. You'll see it's the last one of 5. So in the D band, we've got no vocal expression. In the low D, 0 to 20. And then we've got 21 to 40, we've got rare vocal expression. So we might find it in that level. And quite often if we hear vocal expression at that level, that's to do with the singers really singing from the heart. But it almost feels like it's accidental, not thought about and prepared. But sometimes that can be a very emotive performance, even within that band of scoring of 21 to 40. Then the band of 41 to 60, that's our C level. We'll hear some vocal expression, and we're going to listen to a performance in that band in a few moments. And then 61 to 80, we've got frequent vocal expression. So in this band, people are doing lots of things, lots of the time, okay? And things are much more consistent. And then when we're heading towards the A of 81 to 100, the vocal expression becomes transparent. It's almost like we don't even notice that it's happening. We're just so drawn into the performance that we're not even able to write on the sheets, you know, well, we heard you do this on this word, or we heard this change of timbre of the voice on this section. We're just we let the music and the singing just wash over us because it's just so amazing and draws us in so beautifully. So let's have a little look at the next slide, which I think is a little bit more, it is an explanation about the different elements of the judging sheet. So let's have a little think about enunciation. So it's a bit of a no-brainer, isn't it, that every word needs to be understood. Okay, so we need to enunciate clearly, but you'll be able to think of performances now where you haven't been able to hear every word clearly. Okay, and this is about how clearly the word as a whole and how clearly each of the sounds within the words are made. Okay, so you will have listened to performances where you haven't been able to understand the words that the singer is singing, and when I hear performances like that, it's almost impossible for me to get hooked into the emotional message of the song, because I've got no understanding of the words, and the words are what are important. Sometimes if there's an accompaniment to it, that can take you along emotionally, can't it? The shape of a piece of music. But in terms of understanding the meaning of the song, it's almost impossible if you can't actually understand the words. So in the singing category, we really want you to be paying attention to every bit of every word. And I often find myself writing that on the judging sheet, because some bits of words are treated so beautifully with such care and thought. And then other words, little words or ends of words, or perhaps the little middle bit of the word, haven't had any care or attention paid to them. And then that's what kind of lets that performance down, if we don't get that level of attention. So, but it is important, isn't it, that in an ensemble, that everyone agrees how to sing a word. So we would all pronounce things differently. So we need to kind of have agreement about how we're actually going to say the word and sing the word. There's no one way of pronouncing any word, but we do need to have an agreement about that. And you could argue that there might be a more preferable way of pronouncing a word when we're singing, but that's something to explore in your rehearsal. And that will enable you then to really make use of those words to share the lyric with your audience and the emotion of the song. Okay, what's the next one? Word sounds. So that kind of follows on. These are all really linked. So it's a development of enunciation, I think. But here we're paying particular attention to vowels, okay? Vowels, diphthongs, and consonants. And we want you to make sure they're matched and that they're resonated in the same way to enhance the delivery of that expressive lyric line. The consonants in particular are what give meaning to the words, and the vowels carry the emotion. So we want you to make sure that you're really paying attention to those, okay? But we don't want them to be over mechanical, so that distracts from the emotional delivery of the song. And certainly there's a move towards, in barbershop singing, to a much more natural delivery of the lyric line and words. So that's something to be thinking about as you move forward. Okay, let's have a little look at the next one. So tone colour. So we heard in that example from Jody McBrayer, didn't we, how he used different tone colour. And the lyric of the song might suggest that. And you'll work on that in rehearsal and explore that in rehearsal as to where you might want to make some subtle changes of tone colour to express the emotion of the song. And there's some quite technical things going on there when you do that with your voice, with your instrument. But as I said at the very start, sometimes if you try not to think about the technique and allow the emotion to drive the voice, you'll be quite amazed at what you can achieve without actually having to think about the technical aspects of singing in a different way. Okay, let's have a look at inflection. So inflection is all about singing with an appropriate shape to word sounds, so that you have meaning and emphasis. It's, if we're talking, we never talk in a monotone, do we? Your voice is always going up and down, and words flow in a different way depending on what it is you're wanting to say. And we need that kind of thing going on when you're thinking about how to deliver the lyric line of your song. You could think about exploring that with two sides of a phone call. That's quite a good way of doing it. Or maybe thinking about how you would express the lyric if it was a poem that you were reading. or if you were talking to a child, or speaking to a big audience, how would that affect the inflection of your voice? Okay, so that you're thinking about those word sounds in different ways. And then the last one, believable emotion. We've talked a lot about that already, haven't we? How it's really important that, you know, we need to be able to effectively communicate the emotional content of the song. And there is no doubt there's a natural correlation between the commanding vocal skills and the performance ability to generate emotion when they sing. A lack of vocal skill can often affect the quality of vocal expression, and it will distract an audience. And again, you'll have performances like that in your mind already as I'm saying these things. But, you know, on the other side of it, as we saw with Jodie McBrayer there, you know, the great vocal skills allowed that singer to generate many, many subtle variations in the quality of their voice and their emotion when they're singing. But, you know, performances, really, we're looking for performances that are honest, sincere and genuine, and have that element of vulnerability about them. That's what brings something special to the stage. So that's a quick whiz through the judging category for that element, for vocal expression. Let's have a look at the next slide, Mike. Okay, so here we go. Let's just watch a little bit of this one. It's your turn to listen and type in the chat again, everybody. So what are you hearing that you would say is this chorus singing with vocal expression? Here we go. Let's have a listen. Okay, Mike, thanks. Okay, yeah, great, well done. Let's have a look at what you said there. Jocelyn, spot on, emphasis on the word you. You know, they were choosing to hold some words, weren't they, for vocal expression, very definitely. Dawn, again, that breathy how, a great vocally expressive technique there that they clearly made a choice to do. Yes, Sue, you're right. We could hear all the lyrics, couldn't we? You know, and that's just one of the essential starting points, really. Good matching of vowels generally. You're right, Jen. And that on the how, lonely, emphasizing that E at the end. And yes, you could feel, Emma, couldn't you, that they were building that kind of flow across the lyric line. They were getting that ebb and flow. Some emphasis on the word day, you took my hand, yes. The L on lonely, treating that consonant with a little bit more care. Lots of light and shade, Tanya, you were right, especially in dynamics. We're very upset we don't have dynamics on our sheet. We're going to get that at some point, but it's very important. It absolutely feeds into the emotion of the song. Okay, and that chorus would score in the sort of high 50s. Around a 58, 59. So doing lots of things, but they're very noticeable, aren't they? They kind of hit us when we hear it. Okay, let's watch another one. Brilliant, you're doing fantastically well. You've got lots of judge potential candidates here, so keep going with these great comments, everybody. Okay, here's another one.
Maybe I'm old-fashioned, feeling as I do. Maybe I'm just living in the past. But when I meet the right one, I know that I'll be true. My first love will be my love. When I fall in love, it will be forever, or I'll never fall.
So some of you might spot it, that's actually Mike directing there. So let's have a little listen to what you've said about signature. So yeah, big sound for a small chorus, and that kind of grabs you straight away, that kind of a surety of the vocal technique. I'm not having to worry about that. I know that that's solid, and the sound grows. You're right, Anna, you know, that sound grows as they start. I wanted to draw your attention to the very beginning, in fact. And from the time it took, so the pitch, the way the pitch was taken, and the time between the pitch and the first onset of sound, and how that helped to convey the emotional message of the song and enabled those singers to prepare for that first onset of sound. You know, we often don't pay enough attention to that very bit at the beginning, and often that non-singing time can be really important too in helping to convey the emotion of the song. Let me see what else you've said. That you can feel, let's have a look, growing sound, good dynamics, yes. You know, there was a lot of ebb and flow, wasn't there, across the phrase, that kind of, call it like an arc of the phrase. You want your phrases to kind of have this kind of sort of texture to it, so that it's never just like this. It always has ebb and flow, but being natural, that full warm sound. Justin, you're right, it's a really warm sound, isn't it? I don't know whether the huge breaths audible is a good thing there. I don't know, but if that was the deliberate thing they did, I can't remember. But yeah, as we said before, sometimes the breaths, just, you know, use them. Don't be frightened of breaths. If it's right, we don't mind hearing it. The lyrics were great, weren't they? You could hear every bit of every word. And there were some lovely changes, Emma, you're right, of colour, in the tone colour. And it was a very together performance, Anna, you're right. Okay, shall we have a listen to the next one? So that, just say that performance, hang on a bit, Mike, that performance would have scored, I think, about a 70, 77, 78, something like that. It would be a high 70 performance. Now, here's a very different performance. We've heard ballads so far. So here's an Uptune from a really great chorus, Viva Uptune. So have a listen. Ask in the chat.
Great grandmother fell in love one day, St. Louis, 1904, and the tale of a young heart stolen away lives in the family lore. Sweet, sweet memory of old. This is a story of romance and glory. Here is the story great grandmother told. This is the story she told, she told.
Mike. Thanks, Mike. You just get drawn into it, don't you? This is a really, really fabulous performance. Yeah, you know, Gemma, you're right. What energy from the start, and the confidence, it just radiates from them, doesn't it? Anna, you're absolutely right. Great build up of sound, Jocelyn, you know, lots of energy to convey the words. Their enunciation was great, wasn't it? You know, you could hear every single bit of every word, and the way they used consonants was just fantastically expressive. Very clever and very well executed. And that led to really strong engagement, didn't it? We were just drawn in. Yeah, Kathy, you said that, you know, it just draws you right in, doesn't it? And you know, that element of, somebody said there, Paula, you said about how they're all engaged and enjoying it. Yeah, they're right there, aren't they, inside that emotion of that song. They do not look like they're thinking about technique or how they're going to deliver it. They're just right in it, and that is what makes the difference. So very exciting, isn't it? Lots of light and shade, just beautiful. You know, a really great example of how to sing an Uptune really well. Wow, high energy, completely love that performance, brilliant. Okay, let's have a little look at the next one. So, right, let's have a look at running a show chorus. So, massive chorus. Have a little listen to what you're hearing here, and write it in the chat again. You're doing fantastically well, everybody. Okay.
At least one moment every day, I hear the echo of your voice. I hear your voice, and though it's only in my mind, it stays with me. I have no choice. I reach for you as if you were here. Your tender touch, your warm embrace, as though it's been so many years. I still can see your face. I still can see your face. Still I see your face. Somehow we knew another love would find us. We carry on, leave yesterday behind us. Sometimes I find alone, I find the quiet nights. I close my eyes and realize I never let you go. No, I never let you go. I never let you go.
Okay, just got there, Mike. You could watch the whole song. It's beautiful, isn't it? Every time I hear that, I just completely get drawn into it. Let's have a look at what you've said about that. So we've got yeah, emotive, the breathy onset. Let's start there. A deliberate choice to use that breathy onset. And you might like that, or you might not like that. There's definitely some element of personal interpretation on this, whether or not you like some of these things or not. But a deliberate choice there, that then, I said, as I mentioned before, that just sets the instruments in a different way, your vocal instruments in a different way, and gave that lovely tone, that gentle, warm tone that they had at the beginning. That, Caroline, you've identified that. So what else have we got there? Beginnings and ends of words, that unity at beginnings and ends of words. I mean, you know, in a chorus so big, I mean, that's just incredible, isn't it, that they can do that. Believability, 2 people have put about believability. Yes, you kind of just get so drawn into it. That's how you know it's believable, when you get drawn into it. Dynamic controls, beautiful, isn't it? That ebb and flow across the line is just amazing. And that unity of delivery of the message across the chorus is amazing. And that is what is transferring into their vocal performance as well. So, you know, those 2 things link really, really closely. So yeah, the mood was set with that aspirant onset, that rise and fall of the emotion, Angela. Yes, you're right. And that clever use of phrases, you know, to help with the emotional setting. Somebody wrote, I can't find it now, but somebody had written about, it almost seems like they're not kind of taking a breath between the phrases. They're kind of, it's flowing, isn't it? And that flow just keeps us moving with them through the emotion of the song. It's really quite brilliant, isn't it? So, you know, I would, if you don't watch other barbershop performances, or you haven't watched any of these really top choruses in the world performing and singing, go down a YouTube rabbit hole and watch lots and lots and lots. You will learn so much from doing that. Okay, let's have a look at the next slide, Mike. Okay, let's see where we've got up to. Okay, so thanks, Mike. So let's just have a little, we've talked a lot as we've gone on about how you can achieve expressive singing, but let's just highlight those here just for a moment as we're coming towards the end. Okay, so spend time, work on those fundamentals of singing, become a more competent singer. You know, there's no substitute for each member of the ensemble getting better at what they do. A small improvement in one person in the ensemble, if you multiply that by the number of people, the improvement will be huge. And you can work on that through personal vocal instruction. You know, even in the strange times we're in, you know, you can have a one-on-one vocal class with somebody who can help you to improve the quality of your singing. You know, singing courses are just amazing. You know, if you're going to, when we get back to doing this together, you know, and you're going to run a singing course to maybe recruit for your chorus, put your chorus through that singing course again, because recapping on those basic fundamentals of how to sing well will pay off. Okay, and I'm sure that you're doing this in your weekly craft sessions with your chorus, even online rehearsals, looking at those fundamentals of alignment, tuning, breathing. You know, I would just urge you not to waste your warm-up time on bad singing. You know, so make sure that you really are focusing on getting your singers singing better in that warm-up time. Don't just go through exercises for the sake of going through them. Pick an exercise that is going to work on an element of vocal production that you know your ensemble needs to work on. Okay, next slide, Mike, please. Okay, so how about achieving expressive singing? You know, it's about living the experience in rehearsal. You can't wait to add it on when you get to a performance. It has to be what you're just doing all the time. So thinking about the mood of the song, what the composer and then the arranger, that they rely on the performer to convey the mood and emotions of the song and to bring it to life. So, you know, do your research about the song. Find out where that song came from. Find out what the motives were. Find out who was the first person to sing it. Listen to that performance. Find other versions of that song. You will, again, learn so much from that you can draw on to add into your performance of the song. And as lots of you said at the beginning, you've got to really feel the song, connect to the meaning. And once you've got over that, you know, I've got to jump into the dark in rehearsal and create light around you with your voice. It's like, don't be afraid of going there. You know, you'll all have experienced those goosebump moments in a rehearsal where the emotion is, you can just touch it, you know. Let that happen when you're rehearsing, and you might be amazed at some of the things that come out of that you'll then say, oh, we're going to keep that and we're going to rehearse that to make sure we can repeat that. each time we sing it. But then here's the thing about, if you keep singing it the same way, you know, it's going to kind of feel to you probably a bit boring. But remember, lots of your audience will have only heard it for the first time when they hear it. So you've got to sort of sing it as if it was the first time every time you sing it. Making sure you know the words really, really, really well. We've seen how important that understanding of the lyric is, and being able to sing that lyric with real clarity. Connecting with your audience, making it a shared experience. Somebody said about the Jodie McBray example, how they felt he was singing to them. And that's a really special thing when you experience that with a group that you go to see, isn't it? That you feel it's just connecting directly with you. So that's something to think about. A lot of you have mentioned in the chat there about linking the visuals and the vocals together, and how important that is. And there's, you know, we all know how much the body is connected to what happens up here in the vocal folds, and then what sound you hear when you sing. So connecting those two things are really important. This is the overlap area between performance and singing in a big way. Okay. I mentioned earlier about not analysing the song when you sing, because it keeps the emotion inside, and we want to hear the emotion on the outside. So, you know, if you're the kind of person that likes to analyse, you've got to train yourself not to when you're performing your song. So there's just a few little ideas for you to think about. Okay, so let's just have a little, I think we're on to the last thing, are we, Mike?
Yeah, because we're under 10. So
okay,
just,
lovely. Okay, so I'm going to finish with a performance by the Ambassadors of Harmony. And I'm going to let you watch the whole thing. When I saw this live on the webcast, you know, both Mike and I, we were kind of thought, that's the best thing we have ever heard. And then, you know, half an hour later on came Westminster. Oh, okay, maybe that's the best thing we've ever heard. But I keep going back to this performance as the most wonderfully, beautifully, vocally expressive performance I've heard from a big chorus. And each time I hear it, I can't help but be drawn in and feel emotional about the performance. So if you've never seen this, I want you just to sit back and enjoy it. It's about 4 minutes or so. We've got time. Yes, we have. Okay, right, go for it, Mike. Play this one. Enjoy, everybody.
That bold and vivid contrast of black and white can blur and vanish on a lonely day, and all the brilliant colors of your true self are rendered in a dull and dreary discouraged, though I realize it's hard to take courage in a world full of people. You can lose sight of it all, and the darkness inside you makes you feel so small. You feel so small, but I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true makes you crazy and you've taken all you can bear, just call me up, you know I'll be there. Yes, I'll always be there. I'll be there. See your true colors shining through. See your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors, true colors, true colors are beautiful, so beautiful, like a rainbow, beautiful like a rainbow. So smile, show me a smile. Oh, I just can't remember when I last saw you laughing. This world makes you crazy and you've taken all you can bear. Call me up, you know I'll be there. I'll be there, you know I'll always be there. I'll always be there. I'll be there. 'Cause I see your true colors shining through your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to show that smile. Show me your smile. Your true colors are beautiful, beautiful, like a
Great. Thanks, Mike, for sharing. Yeah. Great. Yeah. Should we have a? We'll have a clap for that. I think that's just yeah, yeah. You know, so I really hope that you're going away from our session today with a bit of a a clearer understanding of what it's all about, and you've heard some really great examples. Just go out there, listen to lots of performances from every genre, and you will learn so much about how to sing expressively. And then when you bring your performance to the stage and we're judging you, we'll just let it wash over us. That's the treat. That's the pleasure of doing what I do. I get to hear your performances. So thank you for being here, everybody. Should we have a big wave? Say thanks.
We need a photo. We need a photo.
We need a photo.
Thanks.
Okay.
So you can wave. The wave's great. If you just keep
wave.
waving, yeah, just keep waving. I'll get you. Okay, keep waving. Keep waving. Couple of screens. Keep waving.
Thanks, everybody. For your
keep going. Keep going. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your engaging in the chat, everybody. That just made it so great for me. So thanks very much. Enjoy the rest of your virtual convention. Bye.
That was awesome. Thank you very much, people.
Bye.